Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
Oh, I love this one. Did you know the first ever cordless phone was created by God? He named it prayer. It never loses its signal, and you never have to recharge it. And you can use it anywhere. There you go. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by, come on, Patriots, it's getting close to Christmas, 16 days, call in, call in. And a good morning to you and yours. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell, and I really appreciate your listenership and your calls today as we say thank you to our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for whatever weather throws at you on the roads. They're going to be ready with the best of tread design from all the tires. And don't forget, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, our friends at Greystone Crossing, Independent Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Heyburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, let's go to our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well done, Wheels. And right now it's time for the weather, and it's brought to you by Roger and the crew at K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn. You can't miss them. Honestly, you can't miss them on the Burley-Paul Highway, and they've got all the best of tools and equipment for you to finish any kind of a project. And don't forget, too, they've got all those snakes for your drains, so you don't have any problems when you have company during the Christmas holidays. All right, be sure and get a hold of them today for the best of tools and equipment, K&R Rental. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Beautiful day as we kick off the work week, and it's going to be fairly decent as we make our way through it. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies for today, a little bit on the breezy side, but expecting a high of 35 tonight. Patchy freezing fog after midnight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Tomorrow, patchy freezing fog in the morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. A little bit of a breeze out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 38 tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 23 by Wednesday. Mostly cloudy skies and 39. Then we do have a slight chance of rain or snow showers for Thursday and Friday. Highs are going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina. Appreciate it. Outstanding weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South 600 west of Heyburn. Hello, Roger. They get there early in the morning. Hey, by the way, if you want to call first and ask about tools, about what you need for various jobs, give them a jingle on the landline, 678-3122. K&R Rental, serving you. Wow, we've got some home run hitters on the program this morning. Richard Manning. And we've got Frosty Woldridge. We're going to give away another ham this morning. Let me know, folks, the winners that win the hams. Let me know if you have any problems whatsoever. And, of course, Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House, going to be on. And then from First Liberty Institute, Stephanie Taub. And we're looking really forward to talking to her about a story that, it'll make you mad, but then it'll make you glad that First Liberty is fighting for these folks. I won't tell you too much right now. You stay tuned. I want to remind you, too, about our friends at Daryl's Cleaners. Hello, Kevin and Cindy and the crew over at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. And maybe you've got to get some tablecloths cleaned up for Christmas. You just kind of left the gravy stains and the cranberry stains on there from Thanksgiving. Well, take them in to Daryl's Cleaners. And by the way, if you're running out of time Christmas shopping and everything, and you don't have time to do your own washing, well, take it to Daryl's. They will wash, dry, fold, and iron, just like Mommy used to do, all your clothes right there at Daryl's Cleaners, 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. You stop in and see those really good folks today. I want to also, excuse me, I apologize. This cold absolutely has taken up residence in my throat, and it must be enjoying the neighborhood because it won't leave. But bear with me, folks, and give me a call. I need your input. So don't forget, too, all your heating and cooling and electrical needs from our friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh, my goodness sakes, they get there also early in the morning at 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. And it's not bragging. It's a fact. They do have all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, and all your furnace filters, everything, and a staff of people that are so knowledgeable and helpful. Please call them, 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. A couple of quick notes here. Boise State University to face Washington, the University of Washington, in the Las Vegas Bowl on December 21st. I know that Boise State University was really hoping to get a bid for the Cotton Bowl, and they were overlooked, and they did not get it. But they're going to be playing on December 21st, the Las Vegas Bowl. And the interesting thing about this football game, it's not just a football game. It's the old head coach, Peterson of Boise State, against his assistant at that time when he was in Boise, and that's Harsin. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens on December 21st. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my. 611 North Overland and Burley. Now, we're going to be over there for the annual Christmas party next, not this week, next Thursday on the 19th. I urge everybody to be there. Every year you've supported this, and I really appreciate it. They're located at 611 North Overland and Burley, America's Diner. We're going to have Santa Claus there. We're going to have singing of Christmas carols, all kinds of gift giveaways. Come on in, Denny's Restaurant, next Thursday on the 19th. Don't forget that, for our annual Christmas party. And you can stop in anytime, all the time, for the best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner in Burley and Twin Falls. All right, now it's your turn, callers. Give me a jingle on the landline. And I got to tell you, before this program started this morning, I had my ears and my eyes on the TV set listening to the absolutely raucous attitude and shortcomings of Jerry Nadler and the Democrats versus the Republicans at another circus hearing that started this morning in the room, the House and Ways and Means room, I should say. And it absolutely is. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, folks. You don't have to be. All this is show, theater, and postponement. That's all it is. Show, theater, and postponement. They are doing, they being the Democrats, their best to create an aura of don't reelect Trump. They know that when it leaves the House, even though the House may very possibly and probably will vote for impeachment, they know that when it goes over to the Senate, it's going to be a dead boat in the water. Not going to go anywhere. But all they're doing is just creating an aura of don't elect Donald Trump again in 2020. And so, therefore, on this program, I'm going to keep advocating every single day that you do vote for Donald Trump for re-election in 2020. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away, I promise. I want to remind everybody about something that's coming up at 9 o'clock this morning, and you don't want to miss it. It's the Great Big Bred Stockhouse Sale going on at, of course, Burley Livestock. And I should say it starts at 11 o'clock. I made some people really nervous there. They haven't even got their long johns on yet. It's going to be today at Burley Livestock Sale. You're at 11 o'clock this morning, Bred Stockhouse Sale. They're going to have really some ripping good heifers and cows that are of all ages, and believe me, over 1,000 head. And Cade Rogge, Merv May putting this thing all together, and I'll tell you what, they've got a lot of solid mouth cows and one iron cows. They even got a herd of Corriente cows. You'd better be there. This is a great chance to put together a good string of cattle for this next year. This morning at 11 o'clock at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Don't you miss it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. The Burley Senior Center menu for today is chicken fried steak, vegetables, fruit, yummy dessert. And I also want to remind everybody that Thursday of this week, having a prime rib dinner at the seniors, $15 for single and $25 for a couple. Call in advance to get your tickets. That's about all I have for you, Zeb, this morning.
Well, buddy, you really do a great job, and I don't think there's anybody a better cheerleader than you are for the Senior Center. God bless you, man, and I haven't said this to you very much, but I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate all you do for us.
All right. God bless you, man. Thanks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Really, folks, the balance of common sense is hanging over a cliff right now in this country. And whether you like Trump personally or whether you despise the man, you can't argue about a better economy. You can't argue about making and facing up to world leaders and getting the job done. And NATO, look at that, getting everybody to cough up the money that's necessary for their fair share percentage. You can't argue the fact that he's been bringing a lot of the hostages and prisoners home from foreign countries. I mean, you can go on down the list and you can name any one of things, any number of things that this man and this administration have done. There again, I go back to my original point. You may not like the man. You may not like his past. You may not like his character. You may not like the way he conducts business, but he does get things done. And my question to you this morning is, do you really want one of those howdy-doody characters standing behind the Democratic podiums? One of those puppets? One of those socialists? One of those wacko tax higher all the time economists that absolutely have no value for the American dollar or how much the American family pays? Do you want to exchange the feasibility and possibility of having this administration go forward, maybe without all the Democrats acting like a pack of rabid dogs, and trying for another 4 years to really, really set this country on the right set of railroad tracks? Or do you really want one of those Democrats? Do you? Call me, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587, as I almost knocked the microphone over this morning. Please give me a call. Hey, by the way, don't forget Rick at Mountain Transmission, 678-9110. And thank you, caller. I'll be right there. Don't go away. He's located at 504 East Main Street in Burley. And I'll tell you what, if your old transmission in your car, your pickup, whatever, is not running good, and you put it in reverse to back out of the garage and boy, you made a mess because you went forward instead. You've got a problem with your transmission. Let old Rick help you at Mountain Transmission, 678-9110, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Caller, I'm a-coming. Don't hang up. Also want to remind everybody about our friends at Ark Animal Hospital, and I cannot stress enough, make sure you have provided for your pets and your livestock plenty of fresh water during the cold winter months. They need that water, and if they have any injuries or sickness, please get a hold of our friends at Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Hayburn. Dr. Bill and the crew, they're dedicated to serving you, your pets, and your livestock. Don't forget, 678-1177. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. The answer to your question is not only no, but hell no. And I apologize for swearing. These people are out for their own agenda. They want to make it socialism. They have no clue how to run this country. They've gotten so far into their hatred for Trump, they forgot what they stand for.
Well, Donna, what do people want? Do they want to have a better economy, a growing economy, plenty of energy? Do they want to have the other world leaders recognize that, no, we're not a doormat anymore? They're going to have to come up and pay for their fair share, and they're going to have to do what their obligations are on various treaty organizations. Or do they want to just create the havoc of having a Biden or a Warren or any one of the Democrats, good heavens, like Wild Bernie, take over and totally change the tax structure and the financial being of this country? I mean, what do you want?
Well, I want your first part, and I'm fighting like the devil to keep it. I don't want socialism. I think the government has enough of their hands in our business. They don't need to take over everything. And your far left people, that's exactly what they're running on. And who in their right mind, well, I can tell you who in their right mind would vote for them, somebody who is totally ill-informed.
Well, if you're adding,
not paying attention.
If you add over 260,000 jobs to the United States economy, please, let me ask you this. When I heard that far exceeded by almost 80,000 jobs what their prognostication was, and they had over 260,000 jobs added to the U.S. economy, honestly, Donna, when you think about it, and then you hear about all these deadbeats and derelicts that don't care, and all they want to do is keep their tin cup out in front of the American public and have the taxpayer fill it, I'm sick of it. I'm glad that they have cut back on the food stamp program. I'm glad that they're cutting back on the SNAP program, because it's going to affect the people, and I want to make this point clear, it's going to affect the people that should be working and are not taking self-responsibility.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I agree. You know, the left are saying that he's trying to cut the WIC program and the food stamp program, and children are going to starve. No, he's not doing that. He's doing exactly what you said. Some of these deadbeat rump butters that are sitting around eating bonbons watching soap operas while you and I are out working our butts off, those are the ones that need to be off of it.
Yeah, and I'm all in favor, and I don't care. I mean, I'm not going to be doing this program for the rest of my life. I mean, there's times I want to look to the future and maybe retire and enjoy a few moments of my own. So I'm not afraid or cowering behind this microphone when I say I don't care if somebody's offended. There are a lot of people, Donna, that this is going to take them off the company dole, if you will, the federal bureaucracy of feed me, take care of me, and make them either starve to death or get up off their Wranglers and go to work. And that's what needs to happen.
Oh, no, I totally agree. And if anybody's offended by your opinion or my opinion, you know, they make a channel changer just like they do on the TV. You can change the channel and don't listen.
Yeah, you know,
be be one of those who don't care.
Well, I'm just so sick and tired of the Democrats like Nancy Pelosi, and they're always saying that, oh, you're going to reduce public benefits. Oh, my goodness, why these poor people? Wait a minute. We're not taking it away from the kids. We're not taking it away from anybody except the people that are deadbeats and derelicts to the system.
Yeah, that's precisely right. And like I said, the Democrats, and if you look at those people when they talk, I mean, it makes me almost sick. But their eyes bug out, and they're just emphatic about their right.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're stupid. They're being stupid. Who in the right mind is going to vote for them? The people that are taking the government assistance and not doing a dang thing to contribute to anybody.
Well, and I have been an advocate, and I've got to curtail this because I'm running late on a bunch of things here this morning, but I've been an advocate of cutting back on a lot of things, like the summer lunch and breakfast programs and everything, where anybody and everybody, regardless of income, can go up and get it, and they say, well, it's all paid for through grant money. Well, who in the heck does the grant money come from?
Right, you and I.
That's
and
right.
People like us. And, there are quite a few people that, basically have the same opinion we do. And that's what it's going to take, for people to stand up and say, enough is enough. And people need to get informed and get out there and vote for the right party.
There you go. I've got to run. I am so late. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Thank you. Want to remind everybody about our friends at Dino Septic Service. Oh, my goodness sakes. They are there when you need them. And it could come unexpectedly. All of a sudden, the septic tank, you got a problem. You've got a problem. You better give them a call. And, of course, septic tank pumping and septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe services, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned, all of this and more. Give them a call at 436-6526 or 678-1638. And fast, fair, friendly service, you bet. We've used them, and I'm pretty proud of them. Dino Septic Service with the big truck that says smells cargo on the way. You get a hold of them today. Holy smokes, hang on everybody. I've got some Merry Christmas wishes coming your way from Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West in Paul, and another location on Kimberly Road by Red Cap Corner. Absolutely, Butte Irrigation has more parts for all the brands, and I'll tell you what, they will get you wet. Believe me. Butte Irrigation wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Along with our friends at Golden Valley Warehouse, 1000 South, 468 West of Burley. And don't forget, they'd like to thank all of their customers for all their support. Owned and operated by the Adams family. Super good folks with quality seed. You better believe it. Merry Christmas wishes from Golden Valley Warehouse. And Vicky's Country Garden at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. She's given a great opportunity for you to help your shopping. Gift certificates to Vicky's Country Garden. All you need to do is call her at 431-5667 and set up an appointment at Vicky's Country Gardens. Merry, Merry Christmas. Now, I'm going to do the cookie giveaway, and then we have a special guest coming on the program this morning. And here is the cookie giveaway. We have a dozen cookies we're going to give away from Sophie's Chatterbox over at 530 East Street in Rupert, right on the square. Fantastic bakery, fantastic restaurant. And if you're the lucky winner, call them and let them know at Sophie's when you'll be in for your cookies. So here's the question. It's an easy one this morning. What was the grandpa's first name on the TV show The Waltons? What was grandpa's first name on the TV show The Waltons? First person to call in at 436-2244 or 1-866-927-4587 with the right answer is going to win the cookies from Sophie's. Quickly now, give me a call. I thought it was pretty easy. What was Grandpa's name, first name, on the TV show The Waltons? Who is this? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Is it Zeb?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I think I'm telling you.
And say it again.
Zeb?
Yes, it was. It was my name, Zeb. And who is this calling, please?
Nicole?
Now, Nicole, that doesn't help me at all because there are, last count, over 37 million Nicoles in the world.
The last name's Gee.
G-E-E?
Yes.
Well, congratulations. You won a dozen cookies from Sophie's. Let them know when you'll be in, and thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Nicole Gee is the winner. Yep, it was Zeb. And so there you have it. Right now, I've got to quickly go to the phone line. We've got another guest on the line waiting for us, and it happens to be a really, really good gentleman with Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley. Curtis, my friend, how are you this morning?
Zeb, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on the show, and I appreciate you visiting with me for a few minutes.
I tell you what, Curtis, I apologize. I'm busier than a one-armed paper hanger this morning trying to get everything done, but you at Patterson's offered something extremely special that I think is noteworthy at this time of the year or any time of the year. When customers came in and did business with you at Patterson's for whether it was a TV or surveillance cameras, car stereo speakers, whatever, you were asking them if they would name their favorite charity, and the top two charities were going to get from you and Patterson's $500 each. Now, what can you tell us to finish the story?
Okay, so what happened is the first person to introduce the two different projects, one of them was Wounded Warrior Project, which, as you know, what they do is help veterans with mental wellness, physical wellness, help them become independent, and then they give them career and VA counseling. And that one was submitted to us by Cody Morgan. And then the other one was World Vision. World Vision is something I wasn't familiar with, but Robert Moore suggested that one to us. What they do is they go out and go to third world countries and look to impact and help them in help them physically and mentally and spiritually to become, contributing members of society so that they can help alleviate the problems. The focus is Alaska, the States, Africa, South America, and over in the kind of like Russian and some of the islands area. Mm-hmm. They help over 37,000 people in nearly 100 countries. And distance doesn't seem to be something that they're too concerned with, but they're looking to help people that are in poverty situations and protect children and help children and then disaster relief and different things like that.
Absolutely.
If you go on the web to either site with World Vision, it's worldvision.org, and with the Wounded Warrior Project, it's woundedwarriorproject.org. And people can learn more about those programs to give. So what happened is we held that. The two gentlemen submitted that. People put their names down along with making a purchase regardless how big or small. And they were the two groups that we ended up handing over checks. We gave the Robert Moore, we had an envelope for him, stamped envelope, so he just got to, put the check in it and send it off. And then we did something different. I initially thought that there would be a number of people who would include some of the local charities, but we had Danny and Jim and another gentleman from the local VF come over and represent receiving them, and we gave them the check and took pictures. No, it should be in the papers, I think, this week. And, of course, we've given to other projects, the recent Christmas tree project. We, bought a tree in that and have, do other things in an attempt to help the community and follow the example of other small businesses in the Burley Rupert area, helping, give back to the community. Mm-hmm. And those were the two that we did that with.
I can't say enough about the spirit of giving and the act of kindness that you have provided at this Christmas season. And I know those two charities, World Vision and also the Wounded Warrior Project, are absolutely better off because of your involvement. Curtis, is there anything you want to say, finalize what you guys have done over there? I absolutely reach out and give you a big pat on the back for what you've done.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, if you don't mind, please, you know, we all have challenges and trials in life, and I recently had a one-car rollover accident, and in spite of that, you know, we made time and made sure that we followed through and did what we said we were going to do, and that is give money to charities. And sometimes when we turn from ourselves to other people, it lightens our burden. And so, you know, that's the reason why in my world, you know, giving and helping charities and helping others at Christmas time and all year long.
Absolutely.
Makes a lot of sense. Thanks again, Zeb. And you have an awesome day.
Well, no, wait a minute, Curtis. I want to just extend to you. I hope and pray that your physical condition gets better, and I just can't say enough about what you've done to help others. A great attitude at Christmas time, and from my wife, our studio, to you, Merry, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb. Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Wow, I started to tear up a little bit listening to that, because there's a man that has had more of some of the physical impairments because of an accident and everything, but yet giving back to others. And I thank Patterson's. I really do, at 421 East Main and Burley, and that man, Curtis. What a guy, really, helping others this time of the year, Christmas time. Wow, I am running a little bit late, so yours truly is going to have to gallop the horse here a little bit to catch up, and I want to remind you about Barry Equipment and Rental, sales, service, and parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, in the Nampa location. Don't forget, they've got the big dudes, the great big Doosan wheel loaders and the excavators. They've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got low rate financing, excellent rebates. They've got all of this with great lease programs. Woo! What are you waiting for? Get a hold of them today for all the projects of lifting, digging, pushing, and carrying. They've got the equipment at Barry Equipment and Rental. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and Napa, Barry Equipment and Rental. And by the way, I'm hurrying here, folks, so you're going to have to bear with me, and then we'll take some more calls. I'd love to have some more calls. I want to remind you, too, about, as I'm looking through my list here, Anderson Farms and Jones Commodities. They want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a terrific brand new year. You better believe it. They want to remind you to drive safely, and remember, if you need an employment change for the new year, don't hesitate to call Anderson Farms. And the number to call, 878-2816 or 878-2820. And Lon Hardy and the crew over there will help you. And I understand Lon's just getting back from hip surgery. Send him a card. Wish him well going into the Christmas season. Doesn't look like he's going to play Santa Claus going down any chimneys. But Anderson Farms, Jones Commodities, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. Now, how about you giving me a call at 436-2244? 1-866-927-4587. As I'd also like to quickly, before I get to my next subject matter, talk to you about Quality's Electronics and their big Christmas sale. Sale prices on all of their great selections of televisions, sound bars, and audio equipment. And also, you can get a $100 gift card with being a new customer activation of Dish. Ha-ha! And don't forget, too, you mentioned my name, Zeb Bell, and you'll get an extra 10% off TV bases and wall mounts at, of course, Quality's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. I've known this family for about 50 years. They are the best. Quality's Electronics, don't forget them in Twin Falls. Right now, caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zebedee, how's everything this morning?
Well, peachy, Bob.
Okay, let me tell you, I hear the other day I was watching the news, and Pelosi was asked, why do you hate Trump so bad? And boy, she fired back, I don't hate anybody. I was brought up different than that. I don't hate him. And this meant, I thought, boy, She's lying again.
Nancy Pelosi is a poor excuse for the word honesty. Nancy Pelosi, Jerry Nadler, and the rest of the Democrats, especially Adam Schiff, they only have one thing in mind, and it's the impeachment and the supposed removal of Trump from office because they know they can't beat him. They've got a stable of people that are running on the Democratic ticket that really wouldn't qualify to be a city dog catcher. They've got problems in the Democratic Party.
They've got more than problems, Betty. I'd like to tell you what they've got, but you won't let me because it's cowboy poetry.
Bob, right there I start to break out in beads of sweat, and I'll interrupt you and say Merry Christmas in the hopes of not having you go any further.
Merry Christmas to you, Zeb. We'll talk to you later.
All right, Bob. God bless you, man. Thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Merry Christmas wishes from Rogge Auction Company over in Declo. They do a heck of a great job. Snake River Auto Body and Paint in Twin Falls. Boy, they do a great job, too. Baker Brothers Pump Service, they're there when you need them, and they've been here for us, along with Dixon Oil over in Rupert, always supporting community activities, and Redder's Showcase in Burley. Whoa, they really serve you. Be sure and remember they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, Zeb, this is Curtis again. I just wanted to thank you for letting me share my experience over the phone with people, and hope you have an awesome day. I'm sorry I didn't know I'd be on the air. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Curtis, we appreciate you, and God bless you for all you do. And I mean that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
You betcha. Good guy right there calling back, and thank yous weren't even necessary because I just really appreciate what he's done for the community. Let me see what else I've got to get done here real quick. I wanted to talk to you about David Horowitz, and the IG report is out today, and the speed readers, as of right now this morning, are going through this great big list and study, and we're going to be hearing more about it probably about noontime. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir.
My friend.
Hey, if you think about it, someone's got to be pretty brainwashed if they would vote for somebody who is saying they're going to raise their taxes, take away their Second Amendment, take away the Electoral College, take away the Fifth Amendment. I mean, if you're going to elect somebody like that and they're telling you they're going to do it and you actually believe it and want them to do it, what is wrong?
Doug, I can't explain this. Over the weekend, I tried to garner as much information as I could as to the, well, for lack of a better word, mentality or lack of the American public that would support the demise of this Trump administration. Okay, let's just assume real quick, we got a minute and a half here, that all of a sudden the Democrats are really, really good at creating a negativity against Trump, and even if he's not impeached, they've laid the egg, and they're waiting for the American public hopefully to say, well, Trump was impeached, so I don't think we better re-vote for him in 2020. Let's say that it goes that way. Who do they want? Do they want Michael Bloomberg? Do they want a multi-billionaire that's absolutely going to come and take your guns away and destroy the Second Amendment and destroy anybody having the right to heat their home and do things in their own private, personal manner? He wants to have complete control and global governance over global warming. That's just one indication as to how serious the Democrats are. Or do you want Elizabeth Warren with your taxes going through the roof? Do you want wild-haired, stupid Bernie? Communist? Well, who do you want?
That's a scary thing. And Bloomberg, he's a special case himself. The man was a Republican, run New York, done a pretty good job as a Republican. The stop and frisk really cut the crime down in New York.
Yeah.
And then he left office, went an independent. Now he's running as a Democrat.
And then he apologized for cutting down the crime.
Exactly. And what's the Democrat Party against? Rich white men billionaires.
Yeah, and that's something else. You know, Doug, I wish we had more time this morning. I've been running a little late. I am, and I want this to be publicly said and heard, I am sick and tired of the Caucasian race, me, white man, you, white man, all of us being denigrated and said, oh, we've got to get rid of the whiteys in our society. Wait a minute. I didn't do anything to anybody, and I'm sick and tired of being persecuted against. Aren't you?
Yes. Yes, and when the Democrats said they lost the last person of color in the race, they forgot they still got Elizabeth Warren in there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're all going to sit in the teepee and we're going to create beadwork.
Yeah, I know it. But it's scary, the road they want to take us down. It is, you studied Hitler and how he did it. This is exactly what Democrats are trying to do.
It says in the Bible that things you think are new aren't. They've been done before.
Exactly, exactly. So anyway, everybody, it's the Christmas season. It's the giving season. Please put a present under a tree at a senior center to help them with Meals on Wheels, and you'll be blessed over and over again.
I appreciate it, Doug, and especially appreciate your call. Thank you so much. Hey, don't forget, make it a Sportsman's Warehouse Christmas. Oh, my goodness. I had a long talk with Reese the other day, and they have got so many things for the sportsman for a great, great Christmas. How about this? A pair of Nikon Monarch binoculars, only $269, and those are really primo. Those are first class. How about $39.99? Are you kidding me? For Abu Garcia Promax spinning combination rod and reel? Oh, my. Check this out. They've got excellent 25% off Gerber knives and tools. All of this going on at Sportsman's Warehouse. And, of course, they're located at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. Reese and the whole crew are asking you to come on in. Make it a Sportsman's Warehouse Christmas. Sportsman's Warehouse in Twin Falls. You stop in and see them today. Yeah, you're probably right. I am running really late, and that means the weather forecast is next. Zebber. By the way, are you hearing jingle bells all the time? Like, are you hearing this 24/7? Well, I am now that I put it up to my ear. Well, it might be tinnitus. Ringing in your ears is a concern for all of us, and most people just want to live with it, but you don't have to. And call Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and let them help you if you do have that problem. The number to call, 312-0957. That number again, 312-0957. Call and schedule an appointment today at Mount Harrison Audiology. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Beautiful day as we kick off the work week, and it's going to be fairly decent as we make our way through it. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies for today, a little bit on the breezy side, but expecting a high of 35 tonight. Patchy freezing fog after midnight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Tomorrow, patchy freezing fog in the morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. A little bit of a breeze out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 38 tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 23 by Wednesday. Mostly cloudy skies and 39. Then we do have a slight chance of rain or snow showers for Thursday and Friday. Highs are going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina. And don't forget our friends. You call today for a hearing screening, and you don't want to miss anything. Call them today. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, of course, they're right over there, right behind the Minidoka Hospital and across from the emergency room. Number to call, 312-0957. Wow. They're going to be taking a vote in Burleigh County. Notice I didn't say Burleigh City. This is another area. Burleigh County, North Dakota. Yep, they're going to be taking a vote. You know what the vote is? They're going to be deciding whether or not in their county they want to take any more refugees. Many of the citizens back there are not happy with taking the refugees, Many of the people back there that are politicians are absolutely have said that they want the refugees to be resettled only in places where state and local governments have given consent and not just forced upon them. They have said we have burgeoning school enrollment, we have veterans' needs, we have homeless needs, and we have Native American needs. And one of the politicians, the Bismarck mayor, Steve Bakken, said, this isn't about heartstrings, this is about purse strings. And I absolutely agree, like Representative Rick Becker has said that the program of forcing refugees into their area has been a drain on social service programs, schools, and law enforcement. So finally, people are speaking up about the refugee program and the forcing and the coercing and the admitting them into various areas when really the residents should have the right to vote whether or not they want them in their respective area. So we're going to be paying more attention to this in the future. Burleigh County, Burleigh is spelled B-U-R-L-E-I-G-H, Burleigh County, North Dakota. We're going to stay on top of that story. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you about our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And give me a call, please. I've got time for another call after this advertisement I'm doing right now for my friends. They are my friends, and they are our major sponsor. I'm just really, really proud. They're helping us with the ham giveaway, Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you so much. And they've got all the tires, all the tread designs, all the sizes for all your vehicles. That's not brag. That's a fact. And all you need to do is stop in and visit them today and be ready for anything the weather throws at you on the highways and byways. Absolutely. And they've got all your tire chains and, of course, the best, underline it, in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries. All of this with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burleigh. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I urge you to stop in and see those good folks today. Absolutely. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Oh, I can't end this hour without giving you more lunacy. More lunacy from the left and the climate change crazies. Now, and I'm not making this up, now the climate change loonies and losers, of which we have some here, are coming to get your ugly Christmas sweater. I could not make this up if I sat in a closed room for 3 days. It's right here in front of me. They are saying that most Christmas sweaters are made of plastic. And being that they're made of plastic, are likely to contribute to plastic pollution in the world's oceans. So they are saying that they don't want any more ugly Christmas sweaters made for this time of year. Just about the time that you thought maybe these loonies had faded off into obscurity, they come back with another dumb. Now they want to stop your ugly Christmas sweaters. Whew, there's no end. There is no end. Here's what we've got coming up next hour. We've got our dear friend Rick Manning coming in, and I can't wait to talk to him about this clown circus that's going on back in Washington. Frosty Wolders is going to be on at 9:30 this morning, and we're going to be talking about the demise of Caucasians in this country, and for that matter, the hatred against whites around the globe. We're going to be talking about that. Then next hour, we're going to have our ham giveaway. I want to urge you to stay tuned for that. And at 10:06 this morning, Speaker of the House Scott Bedke. And Scott is taking time out of a busy schedule. I mean, he's a rancher cowboy out at Oakley and getting ready for the legislative session. We're going to find out what he's getting ready for. And then at 10:32 this morning, we've got Stephanie Taub, and she's a attorney for First Liberty Institute, and there's a case, and it's a case from up in northern Idaho about a family that put up Christmas tree lights to help garner funds for children's cancer. And they were stopped by the Homeowners Association. We're gonna talk to you about this. It's an unbelievable story. All of that and more coming up this next hour, and for the next 2 hours, Zeb at the Ranch. And of course, right now we're getting all set to send this back over to Wheels. Don't forget, we're going to be at Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas, and that's on Thursday, December 19th. And we're going to be broadcasting live and direct over there. Santa Claus is going to be there. We've got the lovely Ashley Ludlow that's going to be singing Christmas carols. Oh, it's a lot of fun. Always has been. That's coming up on the 19th at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Right now, the news from CBS Next. Welcome back. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning, good morning. Brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires to get you through whatever the weather throws at you, okay? Stop in and see them today. And, of course, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And our friends at Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Right now, this good word for Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at the Georgia disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Absolutely. I appreciate the word for Western Waste Services. Always at your disposal. The number to call, 734-6969. Just tell them, hey, we'd like to be on the route service. What do we do? And they say, well, it's easy. You just did it. You called 734-6969. Western Waste Services. They'll come by and get your garbage. So please call them today, 734-6969. Western Waste Services. Want to remind you, too, about our friends over at Quali's TV, absolutely Quali's Electronics in Twin Falls. Hometown service and support, and I can attest to that. These are really, really good people. They've got low prices, too, on something else you're not aware that they've got in the store. MedLift lift recliners. They say that fast 5 times. MedLift lift recliners. There you go. And also sale prices for the Christmas sale on a great selection of TVs and sound bars and audio equipment. All of this at Quali's Electronics Christmas sale. Please stop in and say howdy. And they're at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Quali's Electronics wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Want to remind you, and I'm going to be over there this afternoon at 1 o'clock, probably see you there at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell and all the physical therapists, they really know their stuff, and they've helped me a lot. Aching and paining and recouping from a surgery or an accident, please let them help you get back to being you. Number to call, 678-1191. Please give them a jingle today. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. It's easy to get in there and let them serve you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 678-1191. One other real quick thought here this morning is we want to urge everybody to remember Hanson Mortuary and all they do for the community. And Joel Heward, the manager's family and his staff, serving you and your family during a difficult time when there's a loved one that is lost. They will be there to serve you always with the best possible support and comfort, and always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please remember Hanson Mortuary in Rupert. Number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morris and Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Let's go to the phone line, and I know a lot of people say, oh, well, you say that about everybody, but no, it's very, very true in this man's case. He has been such a valuable asset to this program for his knowledge and all that he knows about the inner workings of government. I wish they'd turn him loose on the Democrats at these frivolous clown circus meetings they're having. Good morning, President of Americans for Limited Government, Rick Manning. How are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. You have a good weekend?
I did. And by the way, before we get into serious things, I would bet that you've done 3 cartwheels and a couple of chin-ups this morning because the Rams won last night.
I can tell you I'm a long way away from cartwheels and chin-ups, but yeah, it was a good win. Although I will tell you, just because I'm an SC guy, I really like Seattle, and so it's because of Pete Carroll. So I kind of have a dual hat loyalty there, but it's as long as they both make it into the playoffs, all is good. And the Rams needed to win to get there, so I'm all in for the Rams winning out so they can get to the playoffs.
And, of course, there was another bright rainbow on the horizon of rain yesterday. The Patriots lost again.
Well, officials notwithstanding, they still lost. The Patriots are not going to have home field advantage in the AFC playoffs. They're going to have to go through at least have to go through Baltimore, assuming Baltimore gets the championship game. And it's likely they're going to have to beat Kansas City in order to get to Baltimore, which is really going to be a tough way to go. So it's I think they will win the division against over the Bills, but in terms of the Patriots. But it's a lot harder to get there when you have to run through if they have to run through Baltimore.
Absolutely.
That crowd will be crazy.
Absolutely.
They won't have the refs tipping the field toward their side.
I got to be honest with you.
It'll be a little crazy.
I got to be honest with you. I cannot stand the Patriots, but I got to be real frank with you. A couple of those calls yesterday, especially that one touchdown call back, saying that the foot was out of bounds, it definitely was not. They should have had that on instant replay. They did get gypped, if you want to use that word, to say the least.
Well, we saw last year we had the pass interference on the Saints, which they're still complaining about, or on the Rams against the Saints, that they're still complaining about. But the fact is, I think that we ought to go away from all the electronic stuff and just go back to the regular eyeball test.
I agree.
Because it is, at the very least, they don't seem to get it right very often with the various instant replays, and certainly not with the correction level that you'd expect. And it's a little bit frustrating to be able to see it with your own eyeballs and have people in New York not call it that way. So I'm just set to say, okay, there's an amount of human error that we know is going to exist. Just allow the human error to occur and let the chips fall where they may. Because they tried to make it so you can review pass interference this year, and quite honestly, I think pass interference is called much worse this year in terms of people missing calls, and it doesn't seem that replay officials won't overturn an official on the field anyway. So we might as well just go back to the official in the field and get New York out of the game.
Well, can we, in your opinion, possibly use instant replay in politics? Could we take and adopt an instant replay back at the Ways and Means room right now this morning?
You know, does anybody want to watch this twice?
Oh, my.
I mean, come on. I think we're inflicting enough pain on the American public as it is. I wish that our media did a better job of being an honest arbiter. And I know that's, 35 years ago when I was running political campaigns, I was complaining to my boss at the time and said about the media. And he said to me, Rick, you just have to deal with it. The left has the media, we have the money, it's our job to overcome the media. Well, now the left has the media and the money, so it gets a little more tough, but but the media has always been what they are, and a dishonest arbiter, but gosh, they're not even trying to call balls and strikes anymore. They are absolutely just completely in the tank for the left, and it makes it very frustrating to be for people in my business, because quite honestly, you don't have anywhere to go with the truth. And it's so no instant replay. Don't force people to watch this multiple times, because you'll still have people saying Adam Schiff is right because I think Orange Man bad, or this makes no sense. There's no eyewitnesses, and there's no. And by the way, what you're accusing Trump of doing is not a crime. So you have it's more a function of the divided nation than it is a function of the lack of technology to bring the facts to people. People can get the facts now; they choose not to.
Let me ask you this. Do you think, and I mean this, that I have the utmost respect of your knowledge that the rest of us don't know what's going on? Do you think the IG report and coming up shortly, the Durham report are going to do or say anything that's going to stand everything up on its head again? What do you think's going to happen?
I think the IG report is going to be viewed by both sides as vindication, because that's what the IG will do. He's an auditor more than anything else. Durham's testimony, when Durham testifies, his report isn't due out, but he's going to testify before Congress later this week. His testimony is going to be a battle. It's going to be a fight, and you're going to learn more about what's going on in terms of the follow-up stuff from the IG report. But I think the Durham testimony is they're about a quarter of the way to where they need to be to finish, and the real testimony will be when they start bringing charges against people, and that will be when we have real honest conversation outside the political sphere of what happened. But yeah, I think the one thing that may happen out of the IG report is we have to have an honest discussion about whether the FISA system is working or not. I think it's pretty clearly it doesn't. The FISA court is up for reauthorization it's in the appropriations bill that they're trying to pass, which they're likely not going to. But it needs to be reauthorized, and so and as your listeners may remember, the FISA court came out of reforms from the Church Commission by Frank Church from Idaho, and it was reformed to try to keep the weaponization of our intelligence services from occurring by putting an independent secret court in place that, when it had top secret clearance, would force them to go to the judicial branch, the executive branch, to go to the judicial branch to get authorization to engage in spying. And it was and it's clearly, I think it's pretty clear that the FISA court system failed. It either failed because people lied to it, or it failed because the court system itself was too cozy with those people who were, in fact, requesting the warrantless searches. And it is and either way, it means we have to have real structural reform of the FISA system. in order to be able to even maintain a semblance of Fourth Amendment in this country. So ultimately, that's a battle that's going to happen as a subtext, and most people's lives are going to glaze over. But we're going to have a fight on FISA reauthorization because we can't allow this to ever occur again. And I don't know what the right answer is right now, but I will tell you what we're doing now, we cannot repeat it.
Absolutely. Rick, I want to change direction of the train track here a little bit. For years and years, I have, of course, announced various events all over the United States and Canada, professional rodeos and other events, the Olympics, and many, many, many other events related to equine activities. And during the course of my travels, I very frequently went to Dallas-Fort Worth area and stayed at various hotels and motels and had a chance to rub elbows with a lot of people. And I remember vividly when I was doing the AQHA, the American Quarter Horse Association World Junior Show down in Fort Worth, the hotel I was staying at was also the home of many foreign national pilots that were over here in this country learning how to fly various jets at the Air Force Base right there near Fort Worth. And when all of this took place in Pensacola over the last couple of days, it brought to mind a conversation I had with one of the American pilots I talked to briefly at the hotel, and he was saying, you know, they really didn't know too much about these people from foreign countries. Well, the proof is in the pudding, and the mess that occurred at Pensacola is what I'd like you to address.
Yeah, it's a real tragedy. First of all, I want to bring up the two Escambia County sheriffs deputies who were injured, one shot in the arm, one shot in the leg, not critically, fortunately, but were injured in stopping the shooting spree. So there were two Americans who heroically returned fire and ended up killing the assailant. We know the assailant was, in fact, a Muslim extremist who had terrorism on his mind in terms of killing American troops, and he was sent here by the Saudi government to be trained in flying based upon an agreement that I believe occurred during the Clinton administration. Maybe it was during the Obama administration under Hillary Clinton. But it was an agreement that allowed for their pilots to come here to train. The idea behind the agreement makes sense. We don't want to have our pilots fighting Saudi's battles, so we want to train their pilots to be able to use the F-15s and F-16s. I guess we sold them F-15s. To train on the F-15s and get the best training possible. So, you know, if they have to go into combat, they can go and fight for themselves as opposed to having our pilots have to do that work. On the downside is if the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or any foreign country is not vetting doing a better job of vetting the people they're sending to the United States, we can't have them here. And the fact is that this does more damage to the relationship between the U.S. government and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia than virtually anything else could. You know, in the wake of the Khashoggi killing by people within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, by their officials. There's a lot of damage being done to that relationship. And so one wonders, a reasonable person who thinks about this stuff would say, if you were a loyal citizen of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, you would never do this. And because it's not in the interest of your country. And so instead what we have to ask is, has the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's Air Force been penetrated by Shia sympathizing, meaning Iranian sympathizing people who are looking to destabilize our nation's relationship with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia at this time when there is a battle going on in Yemen where Saudi proxies or Saudis are fighting the Iranian proxies, and there's really those are the two, Saudi Arabia and Iran are the two kind of nations are battling out for hegemony in the region, with the Saudis being our friends and the Iranians being the friends of the Chinese and the Russians. So we've got to. So I look at this a little bit from a higher level, because I think this very well, when they do the investigation, they may discover that these jokers who did this, these terrible people who did this, may in fact have been, they were radicalized. There's no doubt about that. The question is, were they motivated to attack the United States based upon a desire to destabilize the Saudi government? Because this certainly has that impact, and that is not good for Israel, it's not good for America, it's not good for the region.
But, Rick, let me ask you this, and I'm not trying to point my finger at anyone or any nation in particular, but it does seem that in all the problems from 9/11 and on, we've seen much more of the spiderweb go back and point a finger at Saudi Arabia, have we not?
That's absolutely true, and there's no doubt about it. It's and that's what makes some of this really hard and troubling. The Saudis play the House of Saud plays a very, very dangerous game, because they have to because they have Mecca and Medina in their territory. They have to appease the most radical elements of Islam within their own borders, while trying to maintain a friendship with the United States and other Western countries that are essentially their customers. So you have this balancing act that the House of Saud constantly has to play. And I don't know if this is a natural occurrence of that balancing act just failing, but yeah, it's politically. If we think things are hard politically here, imagine if you've got a nation that has a lot of people who want to kill anybody who's a Westerner, and yet all your treaty arrangements are with Westerners. So what I would, my solution on this is the Saudi government needs to do a much better job of background checking people before they send them to us for training. It's or we move the training facilities and we train them there, and we keep them off our shores. And that to me is but if you're training them there, your troops are in the same amount of harm's way. It's just they're in harm's way in Riyadh, near Riyadh, as opposed to being in harm's way where they're sleeping. At least they're sleeping in American beds.
Absolutely.
So that's but it's a difficult circumstance, because we have a balance. We have a north-south balance in terms of the region. And in the north, you've got Iran and effectively Iraq, because we blew that, and they've got so it's kind of a northern tier. We have Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, south, including Egypt, and that becomes kind of the southern tier. And since Saudi and Iran are run up against one another, they're fighting a series of proxy wars, and it's in our interest for the Saudis to win those proxy wars. And that becomes, even in spite of all the other nonsense, that's what's in our interest, because Iran, until the protesters win, Iran's a bigger problem.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Rick, I've only got a minute left, and I want to give a great big plug again for your book, along with Star Parker, Rick Manning, and the book Necessary Noise, How Donald Trump Inflames the Culture War, and why this is good news for America. How's the book doing?
It's doing well. We're getting a lot of favorable comments, and I actually don't get the book sale, so Star gets that, and I haven't talked to her, but from what the people are liking it, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, and and I want people to understand this is a hopeful book, because we're not talking just about problems. It's really a black woman and a white man, about the same age, one from urban, one from rural areas, coming together to write a love letter to America and our founding and the aspirational future that we can have under freedom. And so that's what the book really is. And as a result, I think it's really a good way of taking a course through some of how we got where we are now, but also with a hopeful look to where we can be in the future.
You know, callers calling in, but I don't have time, and I apologize. Rick Manning, President of Americans for Limited Government. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you next Monday. God bless you, my friend. Thank you so much.
Merry Christmas, Ed.
Thank you, sir. Caller, I apologize. I'm just flat out of time. I wish you'd have called in just a few minutes earlier. And right now I've got a couple of things I have to remind everybody about, and one of which is Anderson Farms and Jones Commodity. They want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a terrific New Year, and they remind you to drive safely wherever you're going. And by the way, too, if you're looking for an employment change going into the new year 2020, don't hesitate to call Anderson Farms and Jones Commodity. They're looking for really good, qualified people. Number to call, 878-2816 or 878-2820. And that's Anderson Farms and Jones Commodity, looking for great people for 2020 and wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. I want to remind you, too, that we've got a lot of Christmas wishes, and some of those businesses that want their name mentioned for Christmas to you include Burley Veterinary Hospital in Burley. These are really nice people serving you and your pets and livestock. AMI in Burley, you better believe it, they're always there to help you. Nature Valley Nurseries in Burley, they always have outstanding events during the year. Clark's for Shopping up at Oakley. Super folks with the best of sausage. And Searles, of course, in Oakley. Boy, have they got sandwiches and everything else up there. Really good folks, wishing you and yours a very, very Merry Christmas. I know somebody else that says you want to make it a sportsman's Christmas. Oh, my goodness. That's right. Reese and the crew over at Sportsman's Warehouse. Have you been in the Sportsman's Warehouse? It really, to me, is a happening. You got to go in there and don't be in a hurry. You take time, and you walk down all the aisles, and you go to your wife, gee, I sure like that, or golly, I think that would be great. You know, drop subtle hints. Listen to this. If you're into archery, 20% off Western Archery, Edge and Timber Ridge, recurves, and longbows. And listen to this one. They've got Sportsman's Ultralight Packable Chair, you know, that you can wear right on your back, $29.99. You can't pass that up. Oh, my goodness, all kinds of great specials for you at Sportsman's Warehouse. And like I said earlier, 25% off on the Gerber knives and tools. My goodness, all of this at Sportsman's Warehouse. Merry Christmas at 1940 Bridgeview Boulevard in Twin Falls. You stop in and see those really good folks today. In just a moment, we're going to have our dear friend Frosty Woldridge on the phone. I'm running a little bit late here this morning, and so I want to remind you, too, if I could get rid of this cold, I'd feel a lot better. Cameron and Siemens Insurance. For all your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits, they are there to serve you and help you. Absolutely. They're dedicated and responsive to your needs, very devoted to service. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. All you need to do is just pick up the phone, give them a call at 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, wishing you a very Merry Christmas. And while you're over in that neck of the woods, don't forget our friends at Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. My goodness, they're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. They've got all your snowmobiles and snow bikes and all the accessories. Woo! You can play your own Santa and get on over there and treat yourself. Believe me, you're going to find what you're looking for to have fun at Let's Ride. Don't forget, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World, and a service department to keep you running. Let's Ride. Absolutely true. This is where the fun is sold. Right now, let's go to the phone line and say good morning to my dear, dear friend, Frosty Woldridge. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb. Just a pleasure to be with you this morning, and I'm glad we have the landline this morning because we can really cover what we didn't get to cover very well last week. Also, I would really mention to all the listeners across the country, I've started a series. It's called What It's Like to Be a Baby Boomer.
And since I'm a lead baby boomer, 73 years old, 19, right after the World War II, all the men came home and everybody got married, and all of a sudden from 1946 right through to 1964 is the era of the baby boomers. And being a lead baby boomer and still standing, I think you'll all enjoy. So far, it's a 4-part series, and it's being published on newswithviews.com. And, of course, this latest the piece that came out this morning, I'm getting dozens of emails from all the veterans, both the United States Army and the Marine Corps. And anyone who's ever seen the movie Full Metal Jacket, they will understand exactly what every one of us went through when we went through basic training, especially in the Marine Corps, especially in the Army. And, of course, my father was a United States Marine back for 27 years in the Marine Corps. Fought in the Marshall Islands, survived that, came home. And I'm feeling quite patriotic this morning because all of the veterans who have written me over my series, especially the one about going to boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia. I also am very emotional right now because I saw the movie Midway. And I want to segue into what we're talking about this morning because that movie Midway was it reenacted what happened at Pearl Harbor, and of course December 7th was just on Saturday. And being a service brat, I can tell you, I have a tremendous amount of sense of patriotism. As a paper boy on base there, I stood for the flag, for revelry in the morning and the taps in the evening. I literally hand over my heart, and it stays with me. And we don't see that anymore. We're not seeing the kind of patriotism, and we're not seeing the kind of what brought us together as Americans. If you go to see Midway, you're going to see what I saw. As a matter of fact, I've seen it twice. I saw it again last night for a second time. And so, anyway, that kind of patriotism we once had, we no longer have. That kind of cohesiveness as a nation we had at that time, we no longer have. And so if you get a chance, read the part 4 or read all 4 parts of the series, what it's like to be a baby boomer. I'm very gratified for all of those men and women. I'm getting a lot of women writing me about what they went through. And so that leads into, and let's really discuss this morning, Zeb, the ongoing displacement of Americans out of our own country. I think it's so important that everyone understand what's happening to us right now.
I don't even know. That was very eloquent and very well said, but I'll kind of let you pick up the ball right there and run with it as far as leading into the topic of discussion this morning, and then give me some time for injecting some questions. I'd appreciate that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you Americans, we are the Americans that literally created this country. We are the sons and daughters who literally vote every time we have a chance to vote. We are part of the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. We are the descendants that created the greatest nation on earth with civil laws and with freedoms unknown before our time, unknown anywhere in the world until the Founding Fathers and their wives that supported them brought about the U.S. Constitution that was put into action, I think, in 1789, with George Washington being the first president, John Adams second, certainly Thomas Jefferson after that. I think it was James Monroe was fourth, and you read it down the line all the way through Lincoln and Teddy Roosevelt. We have an extraordinary history. But what's going on right now is that our own elected officials, those people in Congress, all 535 of them, are destroying the future for our children. And they're doing it, and I'm going to repeat right here, according to the prestigious Pew Research Center, the new majority, 51% new majority will be the Hispanic, Latino, Mexican ethnic group by 2042. In other words, the European Americans, the Caucasian Americans that created this country, will be a minority in our own country within the next 22 years. And today in America, our Congress has imported 45 million third world people into our country that were not born here. And it's also allowed in somewhere between 23 and 25 million illegal aliens crossed our border and now inhabit all 50 states. And also the same Congress that's been really undermining all of the American people for the last 30 years or more allow 300 million pregnant illegal alien women to come into our country, birth their children, and then enjoy birthright citizenship known as anchor babies or jackpot babies. And they're also, we have 50,000 diversity visas of people who come into this country with no skills, no affinity to America, and they get to plop down and live off our backs. That's what our U.S. Congress has been doing now for the last 30 years. And in 1965, I can say this emphatically, the European Americans who designed the U.S. Constitution and created the most successful civilization on this planet, we enjoyed 90% population dominance. The blacks held 7%, and Hispanics enjoyed 3%. And of course, we now are having this unbelievable 4 million Muslims in this country who have nothing to do, no affinity, have no allegiance to America whatsoever, and yet they are now making impact in our country, all because what happened, again, with the 1965 Immigration Reform Act that started dumping all these people onto this country. We can all thank Teddy Kennedy, Howard Metzenbaum, and Jacob Javits. And that's the tragedy. And there was an anonymous letter who had a pen name, and he wrote, Western civilization was invented by whites, just as Chinese civilization was invented by Chinese, and Japanese civilization was invented by Japanese. You know, so we've got a lot to be proud of. But what's happening now is one of the great taboos that's just promulgated by the leftists, including the left-wing national media, is that every race is encouraged to promote their own interests except the whites. You see, some whites are, and that's just what's going on right now. It's like racism is always completely because of whites. And that's not true, because there's slavery in Africa right now of Africans by Africans. There's slavery in the Muslim countries by Muslims. And to tell you the truth, when it comes to racism, Muslims are guilty of racism just down to the benchmark for racism. The same with the Chinese and the same with the Japanese. And you'll see racism all over, of course, Mexico. How do I know this? It's because I've been there. I've seen it.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Whoa. Frost.
Know what's actually going on, Zeb?
Frosty, just a minute. Let me jump in. I mean, I got to have a two-way conversation with you here. You and I have talked off the radio. Excuse me, I've got this cold that won't go away. I apologize. Many times about the demise of and the lack of respect for the Caucasian race in this country. Right away, you're going to have the left, and we've even got some of those liberal loons that live right here in this area, and they're always going to come forth underneath their rock, and they're going to say, well, you're racist, and you're just promoting the white supremacy and everything else. No, that's not the point at all. But when I sit here in my studio, and I listen and watch and read what's going on across the United States by hate whiteys, oh, those old nasty white people and all this, I'm going to stand up for my race, and I'm not going to let it be diminished.
We all need to stand up for our own ethnic group. And again, the policy and the point of the U.S. Constitution, e pluribus unum, out of many one, or none of us are going to make it through till 2050. And that, to me, is the great understanding here. And that, to me, is what we're losing, because we are importing third world people. I don't care. You can take them Sudanese, you can take the Congolese, you can take all the Somalians, you can take South African Bush people, you can take Muslims. They have no affinity to our country. They have no affinity to the Constitution. And in fact, the Muslims, their religion forbids any affinity to anything other than Allah and that particular Sharia law. And that's what they're implementing. So if it's all racism, that's where the racism's coming from. And that's what's splitting this country. And so the point of this entire article, and right now, I can tell you this, read Douglas Murray's The Strange Death of Europe, because what has happened to Europe is it has immigrated itself to death. It's immigrated millions of people who have no affinity to European culture, European language, European law, and you see what's happening over there. It is unbelievable how much destruction is going on over there of European culture and the European people. And so, you know, and as a matter of fact, in his best-selling book, Patrick J. Buchanan wrote, Suicide of a Superpower, Will America Survive to 2025? You got to read it. I read it. It is just unbelievable. And one critic said, this book is not a pleasant or fun read. Most of us have an idea that our country, the USA, is sick. The question is, what is the sickness? Is it terminal or can it be cured? Mr. Buchanan attempts to answer these questions. In short, he finds us and presents us evidence for the conclusion that we are really in a lot of trouble. And essentially the disease is terminal and not far off.
Well,
and the reality is, if we continue importing all of these third worlders into this country, if we make it to 2030, 10 years from now, without having major riots, major cultural conflicts, or major religious conflicts, I'll be surprised. And you and I will still be on the radio 10 years from now, and it's going to be a sad, sad commentation when we see that our country has slipped away because, again, we're about to add 30 to 35 million more immigrants into this country. And I just don't see how we're going to survive it.
I just absolutely get upset to the point where I want to take a boot off and throw it at my TV when I listen to the Democratic debates and all those clowns standing up there without any face paint on and condemnation. Every one of them, condemnation and pitiful saying they're sorry for what the whites have done in this country. They're ashamed of their own skin color. Oh, we're sorry for what we've done. Oh, we've got to stop this. Oh, we hope that we can apologize for all the whites and everything. I don't like that. I don't feel like I owe an apology to anybody for anything, and I'm sick and tired of having my race run down.
Well, I want to also bring this point up. 500,000 white Union soldiers are the reason, and they gave their lives. 500,000 white Union soldiers died in order to give black Americans freedom.
That's right.
This is the first country in the world to do it.
That's right.
This is the country dominated by whites, and the whites, 500,000 boys died to give all these black people their freedoms in this country. If I were black in America, whether it's Cory Booker or whether it's Kamala Harris, I'd get down on my knees every day and thank the white people for going through the Civil War and freeing up all of the black people in this country. And now the black people in this country, whether it's LeBron James, who is totally anti-American, and all of these, you go on The View or you watch some of these other programs, and notice the racism in this country on the black side. There's Black Miss America. There's BET, which is black entertainment television only. There's the NAACP, which is only black. There are hundreds of only black organizations in this country. But if you had white WET, white entertainment television, I guarantee you it'd be thrown off. If you had Miss White America, it would be tossed out in a second. You cannot have a white caucus in the middle of Washington, D.C., but you can have a black caucus. And I mean, there's 100 black organizations where whites are not accepted or tolerated, and yet you cannot have any kind of white organization like that because it would be thrown out in a second. It would be reported by CNN, and they'd all go nuts. What's her name? The Maddow lady. Rachel Maddow. She'd go crazy. And Morning with Joe and his lady. So we have to stand as Americans together, black, white, brown, red, and yellow, and we got to get away from all this racism and xenophobia and so forth, and we better all start fighting for our own country like
That's
we
right.
did in Midway, the movie. And my solutions are, number one, we have got to rescind the 1965 Immigration Reform Act. We got to shut down all immigration for at least 20 years. We don't need any more immigrants in this country. Or if you don't want that harsh of a shutdown, let's do egress equates to ingress. If 50,000 people vacate America each year, or 100,000, then we can allow 50 or 100,000 to come in who are contributing immigrants that want to be Americans. So I'm giving the two doors right there on that. But we must, number 3, stop all anchor babies. This birthright citizenship has got to stop because it's killing us. We're paying for all those babies, plus their mothers, on welfare for the next 18 years and for life, essentially. We have got to stop all 50,000 annual diversity visas. It's just given a bunch of people from the third world, bush people, a free ride in our country, and we pay for it. We must stop all chain migration. We can't afford China and India and all these people coming over here from their overpopulated countries. And help those would-be immigrants in their own countries to create a viable and sustainable society.
Amen.
With water, food production, and birth control in their own country.
Amen.
This is the only way we're going to survive this thing.
I agree.
You need to talk to your senators and House members before this thing continues as it continues, and we add another 35 million people in the next 10 years.
I wished I had more time, but the clock dictates to me as to what I do and what I can't do. And Frosty Woldridge, I absolutely thank you. I want to continue this conversation next week on Monday, and maybe even incorporate another special edition. If I get an opening, I'll give you a call. But thank you, Frosty. I appreciate it. Golden, Colorado, God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
And I'm open this whole week, Zeb, so thank you, and God bless America, and Merry Christmas.
I will give you a call. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Frosty Woldridge, and I appreciate his comments. It's stuff that has to be said, because all too long we sit back and go, oh, gee, I better not say anything. It might put a wave in the water. Well, it's about time we did. Oh, quickly, I got to tell you, Merry Christmas wishes from Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley. Jeff and the rest of the crew, they've been offering irrigation system service and repair since 1978. And they want to thank everybody involved in agriculture. Magic Valley Irrigation in Burley, 678-3101, wishing you a Merry Christmas. Along with our friends at Magic Valley Carpet, 613 D Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness sakes, yes, they have all your flooring needs, and they can't wait to visit with you. Please give them a call at 436-1722, located at 613 D Street in Rupert, Magic Valley Carpet. And, of course, Merry Christmas wishes from Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair at 635 21st Street in Heyburn. Hello, Doug. He always says remember the true meaning of the season, and also remember the senior centers. Merry Christmas from Doug's Alternator and Starter Repair in Heyburn. Right now, it's time for the weather. Actually, it's past time for the weather. I'm running late again. Don't forget our weather sponsor this hour, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. These are the professionals. These are the people that care. And they can help you with your tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, retirement planning, bookkeeping services, all of this and so much more. With offices in Burley and Rupert, remember the best and work with the best. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Beautiful day as we kick off the work week, and it's going to be fairly decent as we make our way through it. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies for today, a little bit on the breezy side, but expecting a high of 35 tonight. Patchy freezing fog after midnight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Tomorrow, patchy freezing fog in the morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. A little bit of a breeze out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 38 tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 23 by Wednesday. Mostly cloudy skies and 39. Then we do have a slight chance of rain or snow showers for Thursday and Friday. Highs are going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. As I said, with offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 620 5th Street in Rupert. The best. The professionals, Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane and Company. I am going to give away a ham right now. A Christmas ham for Christmas. Compliments of Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and Zeb at the Ranch. And on behalf of Les Les Schwab, and us, we certainly want to wish you and whoever the winners are a very Merry Christmas. If you're a winner and you get the ham, we'll send your certificate after we get your address. You can go into Smith's Food and redeem the certificate letter for a 5-pound ham. So here we go. What is the name? This is an easy one. What is the name of George Bailey's guardian angel in the film It's a Wonderful Life? What is the name of George Bailey's guardian angel in the film It's a Wonderful Life? Holy smokes, that was quick. Who is this?
This is Leon.
What's your last name, Leon?
Clegg.
All right, what's the answer?
Would that be Clarence?
Holy smokes. That's pretty good. I hardly got the words out of my mouth, and you called. Leon, you have won a Christmas ham. Compliments of Zeb at the Ranch and our friends at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. We'll send you the letter. You stay on the line with Wheels. Let him get your address, and we'll mail the certificate to you, okay?
Thank you, Zeb, and you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas right back at you. Thank you very much, Leon Clegg. And the answer again was Clarence, the name of George Bailey's guardian angel in the movie It's a Wonderful Life. Absolutely. I want to also remind you, while Wheels is taking care of getting the address and everything, I want to remind you, too, about Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley. Oh, my goodness sake, Santa Claus is there waiting to serve you. Absolutely. They've got a brand new shipment of recliners. And you got to go in there and try one on. I mean, if you're short, if you're tall, if you're thin, or if you're like me, you got to make sure they fit just right. Well, they've got all the recliners right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And let me tell you, they got all kinds of really unique Christmas gift giving at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Maybe you need a lamp. Maybe you need some kind of other aesthetic value added to your home, or all the carpet, all the flooring. Everything is right there at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Contact Jeff and the rest of the crew by opening the door and saying, "Here I am," at 459 Overland in Burley. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Wishing you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Wow. We're going to take a little break right now for the news from CBS, and then we're going to be coming up with the Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, next half hour. And then at 10:30, we've got Attorney Stephanie Taub with First Liberty Institute. So all of that coming up on Zeb at the Ranch. And a real quick note, better get this in while I have the chance. Don't forget our friends at 7K Metals and Silver Purchases. I am a believer in this program, and I urge you to find out more. You can really help yourself build your own financial security and future, and literally create your own security bank through Silver Purchases with 7K Metals. Find out more. I'll tell you it's easy. Contact Lon Hardy at 312-8699 or Sharon Wilmot at 430-3259. Tell them I sent you, and learn about a savings opportunity for you and a valued treasure for your loved ones in the future. 7K Metals and Silver Purchases. You call those good folks today. Right now, let's go to the news from CBS. I'll be back in 7 minutes. Oh, good morning. Good morning on a Monday. 16 days before Christmas. Good morning and Merry Christmas to you and your family. Zeb at the Ranch, brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for whatever the weather throws at you on the highways. You stop in and see them today. Don't forget, too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. And, of course, Greystone Crossing Senior Living at 1221 21st Street in Hayburn. Seniors living the good life with friends. Want to remind you, one of our sponsors that we want to talk about, and they wish you a very Merry Christmas, CBD American Shaman has essential oils from plant therapy in blends, single oils, roller balls, which make great gifts for friends and family so they can stay healthier through through cold and flu season. Oh my, I wish I'd have heard about them before I started getting this cold a month ago. We can help teach you the properties of essential oils along with the benefits of CBDs. Come see the folks at CBD American Shaman at 1259 Overland and Burley. They're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 5. Want to also give you some Merry Christmas wishes from three gentlemen that I absolutely have the highest regard for. They do a lot serving us. One of which is Senator Kelly Anthon from District 27. There's a man that is really dedicated to service to all the families and issues in the state of Idaho, and he represents District 27, and he and his family want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27. And Representative Fred Wood from District 27, Seat B. This is a man that can really explain what's going on now about all the issues. He's been on our program many, many times, and his constituents appreciate his value. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, Seat B, Merry, Merry Christmas. And last but not least, Representative Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke from District 27, Seat A, a rancher that absolutely is dedicated to Idaho and, of course, fairness and thoroughness on all the issues. Thank you, and a Merry Christmas from Speaker of the House and Representative Scott Bedke. And that kind of leads me right into this conversation as we say good morning to the voice of that man we just talked about a moment ago. Speaker of the House, Scott Bedke, Merry Christmas. How are you?
Merry Christmas, Zeb. It's good to talk to you this morning.
Well, it's always good to have you on the air. I know that you're really busy. You're either shipping cattle or finishing up a lot of work from the fall, but I wanted to get you on the air this morning to talk about any of the issues that you really are concerned about going into the next legislative session. And let me jump in occasionally with questions, but what's the number one issue as Speaker of the House that you're concerned about going into this next session?
Well, that's a good question. There are several, and I'll bring them up, and then we can come back to them if you'd like. I'm concerned as we go into this legislative session about the redistricting process. So, every 10 years, we have a census that for the purposes of reapportioning the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., but also each of the state legislatures. And so that's going to happen. We'll do the census this coming year, but then in the next cycle, our legislative district boundaries will be redrawn. And I think that's absolutely critical for our area. We want to keep a good, strong agricultural voice in the legislature. And we don't necessarily want that diluted by joining in with, joining in with the larger areas. And depending on how we draw those lines, that could be a big deal. Kind of the sleeper issue of that is that for the last two cycles, the plans have been challenged in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has, in their decisions, have tightened the flexibility or removed some of the flexibility given to the redistricting commission. So it becomes more of a mathematical formula, and takes away their ability to apply, some Idaho values to it, if you will. And the reason I bring that up is that the Constitution says that we can have as few as 30 districts and as many as 35. Well, the state has chosen 35 districts for the last 30 plus years. But some of the things that the Supreme Court has been saying leading up to this would lead people to believe, very well informed people to believe, that they're angling to have fewer districts because the math works out better with fewer districts than 35. Well, that makes our legislative district get diluted. Rather than having 35, if we had 32, let's say, then every legislative district would have to have approximately 12 or 13, maybe 14,000 more people in it. and that would spread us out, spread our rural voice out a long way. So I think that we are better having the 35 legislative districts at least, and as the floor, and then a ceiling to be determined down the road.
Yeah. Scott, let me...
That if you'd like. Paying for the Medicaid expansion that the voters initiative put on, that was only funded for the 6 months due to the structure of the initiative, and so we've got to come back and find a way to fund that, and there's a lot of foot dragging and a lot of concern there about how that might look. I think, so we can come back to that. Another big driver this session is going to be property taxes. And there's, property taxes, particularly in the Treasure Valley, are skyrocketing. You can imagine if you and Deanne, if the property taxes that you paid on your home and your little acreage there had doubled in the last 8 years, you would be up in arms.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we have many of our citizens in the Treasure Valley where that is exactly what has happened. They've gone from paying, $2,500 between $2,000 and $2,500 a year 8 years ago to now over $5,000. And many of these people, and these are on homes that they own outright and have owned them for 20 plus years. And if you can imagine how that would be, how I would be if that were happening to me, how we would be spoiling for some kind of change. Now, the good news is that is not necessarily happening in our area. Our local governments keep a tighter rein than they do in Boise or in Canyon County, and so we are not experiencing those types of increases here, but they certainly are up in the Treasure Valley, and I'm concerned, and some of our locally elected officials are concerned that if we overreact in fixing the Boise problem, that we hamstring Kasia and Minidoka, and so we got to be careful on that. But that's going to be a driver this coming session. Obviously, the education task force, the governor has created another task force. They've got some recommendations that they'd like to see done. And all of this against the backdrop of the governor saying, hey, the best time to prepare for a slowdown is before it happens. And so he has asked all of the state agencies, with the exception of public schools, to give back 1% of the money from last year's appropriation and to decrease their request for this year's appropriation by 2%. And I think that's prudent, and I think that's how you and I would set our budgets, around our farm and our businesses, because like we've talked about before, it's not going to be the bad years that put us out of business. It's going to be the good years that put us out of business, because we're going to be tempted to commit to a stream of payments that we can't keep up with when revenues are less, whether it's on the ranch and the farm or in a business. We all understand that principle, and Governor Little understands it as well, and so he would like to kind of slow down a little bit of the government spending. Not that we're going into a recession or anything at this point. I mean, our revenues are still coming in at approximately 5% higher than they did last year, but they're not running at the 7 or 8% year over year that many had thought, and that they were a couple of years ago. So there's no cause for alarm, but the governor, in a very prudent way, much like you and I would, is kind of wanting to scale back a little bit. And anyway, and I think that's good. But how you balance that against a education initiative or any of these other items, it always becomes a balancing act that is the legislative session. So I think those are the things that we'll that'll kind of drive us this coming session.
Well, I would say this, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but a couple of the issues that you mentioned just a moment ago, basically, in my opinion, are dovetailed together. One, of course, the redistricting, with the larger populace moving to the state of Idaho, and then dovetailing into property taxes in certain areas, like the heavily populated western part of the state over in Ada, and, of course, other areas of the western part of Idaho. They're kind of back in the same shape together. When we look at overpopulation and people moving in here, we're going to see an increasing pushback of any districts that can support agriculture and farmers. How do you compensate for that?
Well, we take care of business. You know, we put first things first, and we make sure that we have the infrastructure there, including water, in place, and then we don't, you know, I appreciate all these people wanting to move to Idaho, and there's a complement in that for Idahoans. That is proof positive. You know, all of the naysayers that tell us that we could be doing better here, doing better there, you know, if that were the truth, then these people wouldn't be seeking out places like Idaho. And so there's that. But you know, this new growth has got to pay for itself. It shouldn't be a shift back to the citizens that have already been here, and that includes agriculture and commercial property. You know, I've looked up. I have a good friend that lives in Boise, and this lady is very prudent and her family has always been prudent. They've owned their home for 25 years, and so all of this prosperity that we're describing here in the Treasure Valley is not her fault, or is it to her credit? In other words, for the local governments to charge her twice as much as they used to, that there's something wrong with the system that does that. The new growth should pay for the impacts that comes with that new growth, and that's the same out in legislative districts like ours. We appreciate the fact that we've been discovered. We appreciate the fact that people want to live here, but we're going to conduct agriculture here, and we're going to bale at night, and we're going to do, you know, things like that, and I appreciate them wanting to move here, but they need to appreciate our custom and our culture here, and not bring all of the bad that they are getting away from with them when they move to Idaho.
Absolutely. In the time remaining, I want to comment on a couple of other issues that you mentioned. One was Medicaid funding. This has turned into, now this is purely my opinion, tell me if you think I'm wrong, but the Medicaid issue, in my humble opinion, was not ready to go on the ballot at the next election, because really, that was putting the cart before the horse with not knowing where the money is coming from or how it's going to be funded. Am I wrong on my synopsis?
Not from my perspective at all, Zeb. In fact, I think that's one of the things we've got to be careful when we manipulate or when we change the initiative or the referendum process, because that's a constitutionally given freedom to the citizens, you know, to come and get it and have a check on the legislature, and I appreciate that. But these laws that are passed by initiative, like Medicaid expansion, they don't have any more weight than a law that we passed in the legislative process. But the initiative process, they don't have to identify any of the money of how you're going to pay for it. They don't have to identify where you're going to get the money or what other program is going to go begging because you took that money. And it just becomes a wish that they jump in the legislature's lap. Now, we took steps last session to make that a little better, but we're still not home free. And so one of the things that this has shown us is that we need to, I think, modify some of the requirements on the initiative process so that the preparation that is done for a law that comes via initiative is the same preparation that comes that has to be in place for a law that comes via the legislative process. And I think that that's just good government.
Scott, let me ask you real quick. There was one other issue that I was imagining that you were going to comment on, and that's the water issues in the state of Idaho. And again, the people that are bringing up breaching the dams and supplying more water for the fish and more for the flush going into the Columbia. Is this an issue that's going to seek prominence this legislative session or not?
Well, I think those are lone voices. I mean, there may be, as it were. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people still, thankfully, in the small minority that feels like that's the best way to, to approach our water problems. But and I say water problems, the water issue, they are not problems. We've always known that we lived in the arid West and that we had to be careful with our water. And the state has taken great steps to do that. We've resolved the majority of the conflicts between the groundwater and the surface water. We were able to mediate the refill issue that is up in the Boise Valley and on the Boise River. And so we've taken great steps to lay the groundwork for the next century with regard to water. But, but people still think that, that we need to breach the dams and we need to take that out, and that the fish should come before any other stakeholder. And I think we have water enough to do it all. You're going to have to balance it, the traditional uses of water is where you'll find me always. And now I will stand always opposed to breaching the dams and those types of very short-sighted ideas, I think. And anyway, it'll be an issue, but it's going to be kind of a, more like dogs barking as the caravan moves by type of thing.
You mentioned earlier about initiatives, and I want to mention specifically the group called Reclaim Idaho that's going after education funding, they say, with an initiative that they say they want to tax the wealthy to support education. To me, that's absolutely biting the hand that feeds you in the state of Idaho, and could come back to haunt these people for going after a taxation program, going after the wealthy and the rich in our state, because in other states they have left and gone elsewhere. What are your thoughts? And again, do you think I'm wrong?
No, you're absolutely right, and I will oppose any of those measures. What goes unsaid there? We're going to tax the wealthy. Well, 85% of the businesses in Idaho pay their business taxes through the individual schedule. In other words, all of the sole proprietors, all the partnerships, all the sub-S's, all of the pass-through business entities pay their taxes as if they were individuals, and it's set up that way. And so, to say, we're going to tax the rich, well, that always sounds good, at least to some. But that's another way of saying we're going to tax the small businesses in Idaho. And but here's what's scary about it, Zeb. If you get the National Education Association, then they come into Idaho and drop $5 million, and they go pay for the people to collect the signatures to put it on the ballot. And then they buy every available minute of airspace or every column inch in the newspapers to say, to paint a picture of, a disparaging picture of education in Idaho. And then and play on everyone's heartstrings. And you can see how dangerous that could be. And they're talking about that would raise another $175 million a year. So if you're going to put, so $5 million gets you 175 ongoing, you can see the danger here and why they're willing to do that and to throw the dice in places like Idaho, where it is, quote, a cheap state. It's cheap to buy the signatures and it's cheap to buy the airtime when compared to other states. And so they come into so entities like Reclaim Idaho and the people that fund Reclaim Idaho come into states like Idaho that are solid red, and they're able to get blue things on the books, things that the legislature would never agree with, and they are able to do it through the initiative process in selling the people a bill of goods and then working out the details later. And I don't underestimate the intelligence of our citizens, and I will fight to keep the initiative process, but it can't be misused as an end around to conservative Republican legislatures.
Scott, I'm out of time, but I want to ask you one question yet and a short answer on this. With all the issues we've talked about, are you, as Speaker of the House, optimistic this can be a good session with a lot of things accomplished?
I think it can be, for the very reason that in May we have a primary election, so the legislators are going to want to get in and get the work done and be home so that they can run their campaigns in May, preparatory for their campaign in November. And so I think that we can get things done. I'm certainly going to keep my foot on the gas, as it were, to keep things moving and basically to first do no harm to our citizens. We got to remember where our priorities are and whose money it is that we're spending. And if we keep that at the forefront of our thinking, then it'll come out all right. It's when we get to thinking the government is the answer to every problem, that's when things start going downhill.
Absolutely.
And you know that I've always been in the other camp, and so I'll be doing everything I can as your legislator and also as the Speaker of the House to see that we keep Idaho looking a lot exactly like we've always seen it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke from Oakley, and from my house to yours, Merry Christmas, and thank you for taking the time to be on the program.
Thank you, Zeb, and we'll set up a schedule, and we'll do a weekly update when we get in the session starting in January.
Absolutely. Scott, God bless you, and again, Merry Christmas. Thanks so much.
Okay, my best to you and Deanne.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to have him on the program. Speaker of the House, Representative Scott Bedke, talking about the various issues that will be discussed in the next legislative session. Merry Christmas from Rain for Rent over in Paul. Mighty good folks. And, of course, another group of people that really wish you a very Merry Christmas. Scows in Burley and Rupert for all your automotive needs. Save on Shells. Hello, Anthony. This guy's got the greatest of camper shells for you at Save on Shells. And Dairy Queen in Burley. Oh, good eating at Dairy Queen. All of those folks wish you a very, very Merry Christmas. Want to urge you to remember our friends over at Greystone Crossing Senior Living. Have you been there? Have you seen it? Have you called and made an appointment? And the number is 650-4979. That's right, 208-650-4979. Matt and Kelly Wiggins have built a beautiful place for senior living, 12-bedroom home, and believe me, 3 meals a day, plus snacks, plus housekeeping, local transportation. What are you waiting for? Please check into it, seniors. The place for you. Greystone Crossing Senior Living on Alfresco Road. That's 21st Street, just a mile east of Walmart. Number to call, 650-4979. Right now, we're going to send it over to our main studio. I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Well, earlier this morning, we had Curtis with Patterson's Electronics on our television program, my radio program, and I really appreciate all that he has done to help people and help charities. Thank you so much, Curtis. They're located at 421 East Main in Burley, and I urge you to stop in for your Christmas shopping. Don't forget they've got all the home theater systems and the surveillance cameras and the car stereos and speakers and all the complete sound systems and all your televisions. Holy cow! wow, you better stop in and see them today. Wonderful people serving you, especially at this time of the year. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6, and they're located at 421 East Main in Burley. The number to call, 678-6997, Patterson's Electronics in Burley. Really good people. Let's go to the phone line right now, and I really cannot wait to visit with this lady, and she is with First Liberty Institute. Let's say good morning. Stephanie Taub, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? If I didn't, please correct me.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. Stephanie, you with First Liberty, I want to first of all highlight what First Liberty is and what you do so that my audience is well aware as to how you became involved in the case we're going to talk about this morning. But for my audience that might not know, what is First Liberty Institute?
Wonderful. First Liberty Institute, we are a nonprofit law firm that defends religious liberty for all Americans. We focus exclusively on religious liberty, and we never charge our clients.
Okay. Now, you are involved in a case that when I read about this case of Jeremy and Christy Morris, the cowboy came out in me, and I was fighting mad to think that someone that would try to do something for their, not only their neighborhood, but also for children would be subjected to this kind of treatment. It just absolutely infuriated me. Tell us the story about what happened to the Morris family up in Hayden, Idaho.
It is a pretty outrageous story. So the Morris family simply wanted to celebrate Christmas in their neighborhood, and so they put on this Christmas display that would last about 5 nights a year for a couple of hours a night. They would give out hot chocolate and sing Christmas carols. They'd have actors in costume and a nativity scene. The Morris family wanted to use this event to spread the good news about Christmas, to share their Christian faith, and to collect donations for children's charities. One of those charities supported kids who are battling cancer, but they ran into opposition from their homeowners association. So the homeowners association repeatedly tried to shut down this family's Christmas display and children's charity fundraiser. And so then we ended up in court defending the Morris family and their right to put on this Christmas display.
Let me ask you this, and I don't even know really where to start. There seems to be some malcontents in that area that not only hate their neighbors but also hate Christmas. Who complained and why?
Well, we know that there has been opposition from the homeowners association itself. So they took several acts to try to shut down this program. So they sent around a letter to the Morris family saying that one of the reasons that they opposed this Christmas program was because some non-Christian neighbors might be offended by it. And so we argue, and actually a jury concluded that this was a violation of the Fair Housing Act and religious discrimination. And the jury awarded this family $75,000 to help them move and help them get out of there. But unfortunately, the judge in that case took a very, very unusual step of actually overturning the jury's verdict and siding with the HOA instead. So now we are representing the Morris family on appeal.
Wait a minute. Now, for those in my audience that are thinking it was a slam dunk that the jury found the homeowners association was involved in religious discrimination, but the judge overturned it, by what authority and how? Please explain that to me.
Yeah, no, it's a very, very unusual thing. Usually when a case goes to the jury, it's the jury's job to decide what happened, who's telling the truth, who do you believe, which side do you believe, and the jury believes the Morrises. They saw this for what it was, that it was religious discrimination. So we even have that smoking gun letter where they said one of the reasons why they're opposing is because of other people that aren't Christians they thought might be offended. And so this is a pretty clear case where the jury has the right to decide what happened, but the judge simply overturned the jury and imposing his own credibility determinations, which is improper. So we are arguing that this was improper, and the judge erred, and we're asking them to reinstate what the jury said.
I'm a little confused here. Stephanie, I don't understand how anyone can arbitrate Christmas, per se, because it is an observed federal holiday. Now, being a federal holiday under the name of Christmas, and if you want to get right down to the gnat's eyebrow, Christmas, of course, the birth of Christ, is celebrated as a federal holiday. Why do we have to care or worry about someone that is a dissenter? Because we have every right to celebrate that holiday.
Well, that's a great question, and it's even more. I guess the violation here is even more outrageous because the Morrises wanted to celebrate in their own home, in their own yard. They have a lot of lights. They gather. They wanted something positive to do for the community, something that they wouldn't charge people, so low-income people from low-income families could come by and have a place to celebrate, get some free hot chocolate, and sing Christmas carols, celebrate the season. But the HOA, from the very beginning, when they moved into that neighborhood, they personally walked around a letter trying to drum up opposition to this Christmas display, and trying to get them to shut it down, which is a very unfortunate situation. And so we're proud to represent the Morris family and their right to celebrate Christmas.
Let me ask you this, and I don't know the case that well, but I'm just asking questions as an outsider. Is it because they hated the idea of Christmas lights, or did they, for some reason, not like their neighbors, the Morrises? I mean, was there an underlying reason as to why the Homeowners Association was so vindictive?
Well, it's really for the jury just looked at all of the evidence. This is a pretty extensive case, and they found that this was religious discrimination. And that's the job of the jury, to figure out what happened. And so they sided with the Morris family, and that's why we have juries here. We think there's a lot of evidence that they were trying to get rid of this Christmas celebration. And we've got the jury heard evidence that the president of the Morris Homeowners Association didn't want them pressing their beliefs in the neighborhood. So this is pretty clear evidence of discrimination.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. Homeowners associations, in my opinion, are not worth the powder to blow them up as far as how they can be so discriminatory. We've seen homeowner associations in Florida go after veterans that want to put up a flag of the United States of America, and the homeowners association has gone after these soldiers. We've seen and heard other stories about Christmas. You know, it seems to me that the left, the liberal left in this country, will use and intimidate any way they can to do away with things that are family or moral value oriented, and this story just makes me sick. Am I wrong in my thinking?
Well, it certainly seems quite a shame that this event, which brought joy to so many people, and donated to children's charities, to kids who are battling cancer, and kids who come from broken homes. So that this is shut down because of these petty squabbles by an HOA. So I agree with you.
Let me ask you this real quick, and then we're going to take a call, Stephanie. But did other homeowners, were they also not allowed to put up any Christmas lights whatsoever, or even let their tree be seen from the streets through their window? I mean, how far does this encompass other people?
Well, they did put up Christmas lights, and so that the Homeowners Association sent them threatening letters, threatening to sue if they continued to have their Christmas program. And one of the reasons that they did specify that they didn't like that they were putting up so many Christmas lights.
Oh my goodness! We have a caller with a question or a comment. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, you know, you'd like to think that Idaho is a bastion of logic and tradition. And you say to yourself, if it's happening here, how bad is it elsewhere? And you see, when we as citizens wish to express our faith and celebrate Christmas, which is a very, very good, healthy thing for children. I guess some people think that it's so terrible that we would bring up the word Christ and celebrate his birth. But Christmas is something that children should understand and celebrate, and, the whole situation is so healthy. And so what do the children have left if these people that attack it get their way, and we as good, patriotic, God-loving citizens cower?
Yeah.
See, we can't cower. I'll hang up.
The caller brings up a really good point, is that the left in this country, after everything as far as family values and how to bring your family up, whether it's Christmas or whether it's Easter or whether it's celebrating the 4th of July on this great country, the United States of America, there seems to be a willingness of the left to go and try to steamroll over all these issues. Would you agree, Stephanie?
Yeah, and caller, thank you so much for your call and for your support. And if anyone else wants to follow this case and get updates on it, we are First Liberty Institute, and you can find out more about this case and all our other cases at firstliberty.org.
Well, I appreciate that, Stephanie, but are you involved, you as the First Liberty Institute, are you involved in any other cases of this nature that we should hear about?
Oh, well, we certainly hear about anti-Christmas cases every year. Unfortunately, I think this is a big one at the moment. But we definitely have cases where we've got schools trying to shut down Christmas clubs, Christian clubs, and we have other similar sorts of cases. So if anyone needs legal advice, is encountering situations where people are opposed to their spreading the good news around Christmas time, please reach out to us at firstliberty.org.
I appreciate it, Stephanie. Thank you so much for being on the program. But I'm going to ask you to please, if there's any updates on this, let us know via email or whatever, and I'll certainly have you back on the program.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Stephanie Taub with the First Liberty Institute. I'm absolutely incensed. No, I'm just doggone mad that here is a family that was trying to raise some funding for many, many different events, including cancer, children's cancer. And they put up all these lights and everything, and they, like you heard her say, they were providing a place where people could go and have hot chocolate and maybe candy canes and just enjoy the lights and contribute a little bit to help childhood cancer and others who have suffered abuse and neglect. And the Homeowners Association puts out a letter, and they say, no, we got to stop this. Why, we can't have this. Why, this has got to stop. We're going to be against this. And they go to court, and the jury finds in favor of this family that was trying to do good, but a judge that absolutely must have had an ingrown hair in his brain overturns it. And now they're up for all the charges and expenses, they being the Morris family. And it could cost them close to at least $100,000 for trying to do good. I'm of the mindset, when I hear these kinds of stories, that if I were the Morris family, I would have gone out and bought every string of light that was available in that area and put up thousands more. We got to stand up, folks. It's Christmas. It's the birth of Jesus Christ. It's a federal holiday. And I'm not going to back up for anybody. You shouldn't either. Somebody complains about a nativity. Somebody complains about lights. Just point your finger at some odd point on the compass and tell them to go there. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, I'm calling back quickly because it's so it's just repulsive why these people would want to do this. And see, every time they get away with it, that's one more step of them accomplishing their goal of shutting down Christmas and forcing the people, who have free will, free speech, to cower in their house. You want to fight. You want to be physically mad, but you can't do it because then you end up being the crazy man.
No, wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. I believe that we have to fight back. And I'll go to the point where if somebody goes by your house in Burley, or they go by my house, wherever the case might be, well, I'm offended by that nativity scene. Now, honestly, think about this, Randy, and give me a short response because I got to get a weather forecast in here. But think about it. Somebody could drive by and I've got a nativity scene on my front lawn. And so, well, that offends me and I think we should take it down because you're so close to a public thoroughfare that we don't want to see that nativity scene. If that happens, Randy, I'm going to buy as many as I can afford and stick them up all over my yard. I'm going to fight back.
Well, we got it somehow. And see, so here how does a judge, I had no idea that a judge could overturn the decision of a jury.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one myself. I asked her about that, and I'm absolutely, when I read that the judge overruled the jury's verdict and imposed an injunction preventing the Morrises from decorating their home for Christmas. They can't even decorate their home on the outside of their exterior of their home. They can't have anything.
There's no words. Infuriating isn't.
I say do it anyway. Honestly, Randy, I'm at the point in my life where do it anyway. Christmas is a federal holiday. Christmas is Christmas for everyone. I am not about to be subjected to an HOA or a judge or any other imbecile that's going to try to thwart the values of the family and say, you can't celebrate Christmas. Yes, I can. Yes, I will. And get out of my way.
See, we spend so much time doing this stuff, and the kids are so damaged, they don't even know what it's like to have, a Christmas.
Yeah.
And the celebration of it. And they have no idea. It's like it's a terrible sin to celebrate the birth of Christ and Christmas. The Christmas holiday and how the feeling you're supposed to have and your children are supposed to have it. And looking forward to just the whole thing. They're destroying it.
Yeah, Randy, and I got to run. I've got to run. Thank you, buddy. This is a story that's not going to go away. I'm not going to let it go away because it points out the imbeciles. That's what they are. If somebody's offended because I called somebody a name, the judge is an imbecile. This judge is absolutely not worthy of being on the bench. He should be under the bench. I'm going to have more on this later. Right now, I got to calm down. I'm really frustrated that we have loons trying to do away with tradition and values in this country. Weather forecast brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, with Don Scarrow and the rest of his crew over there at 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. And you can go to their website and check out all the delicious meats from scarrowsmeats.com. Absolutely great, whether it's breakfast sausage or bratwurst or all the marinated pork ribs. They've got it all for you at Scarrows Meats. We'll tell you more right after this. Here's Gina with the weather.
Beautiful day as we kick off the work week, and it's going to be fairly decent as we make our way through it. Here's a look at your weather forecast. We are expecting partly sunny skies for today, a little bit on the breezy side, but expecting a high of 35 tonight. Patchy freezing fog after midnight. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies with a low of 22. Tomorrow, patchy freezing fog in the morning, giving way to mostly sunny skies by the afternoon. A little bit of a breeze out of the south at about 5 miles an hour. Looking at a high of 38 tomorrow night, increasing clouds with a low of 23 by Wednesday. Mostly cloudy skies and 39. Then we do have a slight chance of rain or snow showers for Thursday and Friday. Highs are going to be in the upper 30s to low 40s. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and brought to you by Scarrows Meats, Don Scarrow and his excellent staff at 331 North Road, Jerome. 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Want to also acknowledge and thank our major sponsor. Can't do it without them, and that's, of course, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Excuse me for the cough. This thing has got to go away. I can't get rid of it. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers are ready to serve you for all the tires you need for any kind of driving in any kind of weather. They've got all the different tread designs, all the sizes for all the vehicles. I urge you to stop in and take care of this today. You never know. We're going to get a forecast that says, oh, look out. You better be ready. And they've got all your tire chains, too. So get a hold of them right now today. Stop in. And also, they've got the best in brake service. Highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and so much more. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You know, a family trying to do good in the community and helping donations for charities that assist children with cancer and other children suffering abuse and neglect shut down. And even though a jury said in the case the homeowner was right in displaying all their lights, the judge overturns it. And the judge says, and imposed an injunction preventing the Morrises from decorating their home for Christmas. And this wonderful judge, this low judge, imposed thousands of dollars of attorney's fees on the Morrises. For what? Oh, they put up Christmas lights and made it a community occasion to go there for 5 nights during the year and get money for children with cancer. And this judge, with the IQ of a hockey puck, stopped it and turned the tables on the Morrises, went against the verdict of the jury, and now is hurting this family even further. Merry Christmas, Judge. You're despicable. That's going to be it for today. The way things were, the way things ought to be, and the 4 words that we always wrap the program up: in God we trust. See you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Zeb at the Ranch, you have a good day.